Okay, so I will start with the basic Python. So we will learn how to make the first part of the code in Python. Usually we call it hello world. And then we will check some basic in notebook, and then let's go to the Jupyter later. So the hello world in Jupyter, it means how you can run the Jupyter in your computer. There are many options to run your Jupyter notebook. So first, you can open the Jupyter notebook from the command prompt. What is command prompt? So like this one, this is the Anaconda prompt. I think you already know the Anaconda prompt. Yeah, you can look at the concept on the search, and then yeah, you can have the Anaconda prompt, and then you can type Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so if you turn on the Jupyter Notebook, it will show something like this. Okay, so this is the environment of Jupyter. When you have this Jupyter Notebook, let's say I have in the folder download, and I have the DSA notebook. Okay, so you can open the file one by one. So one web, only one file. This is for the Jupyter notebook. So let me just close this one. Now let me show you if I want to open the Jupyter Lab. Okay, I use the Anaconda prompt again. I will type Jupyter Lab. So in the Jupyter Lab, you can open several notebooks. So in this case, my folder is DSA 2023. And then I go to my folder, which is notebook. Yeah, it is good to have your particular folder for our class. So the notebook, the file name is the IPYNB. So if the file name is IPYNB, then you can open in the notebook. So in your Jupyter notebook, you can have only one page, but in the Jupyter Lab, this is the Jupyter Lab, you can open several notebooks. So for example, I want to create another notebook. I have another notebook. So when I create this one, it will make a new notebook. Let's say I want to make another notebook. So I can make another notebook, and it will create another notebook. So there will be many notebooks in one environment. So that's the next generation of the Jupyter notebook. Maybe for the good practice, it is good to use the Jupyter Lab because you can have several notebooks. So you can compare one notebook with another notebook. But it's up to you, okay, whether you want to use Jupyter Lab or you want to use Jupyter Notebook. The other way to open the Jupyter is using the Anaconda Navigator. So let me close it now. When you install the Anaconda, you can run the Anaconda Navigator. So there's Anaconda Navigator. When you click this navigator, it will run the Conda, and it will show you one user interface. Okay, this is the old version. Okay, so if you open the Anaconda Navigator, you can see there are many applications that you can use for the analytics. Anaconda have provided this one, like the data spell. You still need to install CMD prom and then data lore, IBM Watson Studio Cloud. So you can just launch. If you can just launch, it means they already included in the Anaconda. So you can see there are two things that I already explained before, the Jupyter Lab and Jupyter Notebook. If you want to use the Jupyter Notebook, you can click launch and then the Jupyter environment will appear. If you want to use the Jupyter Lab, you can click launch and the Jupyter Lab environment will appear. And you need to select what is the kernel. So whether you want to use the Python 3, now we use just Python, okay, but actually we can use other kernel. Let's just click the Python 3, select. And you can have the Jupyter Lab environment. It's up to you how you want to run your Jupyter. You can use the command prompt or you can use the Anaconda Navigator. For me, I will use the first one. The first one using the command prompt because it is more efficient in the memory. If you use the Anaconda Navigator, then it will open all those platforms at once. So it will consume more memory. But that's just a small difference. It's up to you. Okay? So in the Jupyter Lab, okay, let me just use the Jupyter Lab from the Anaconda Navigator because I already opened it. So whenever you want to create a new file, you can see the plus. Okay. The plus here. It means I want to create something new. And there are some options, whether you want to create a notebook or you want to make a new console or you want to make a terminal or text file, markdown file, Python file, and other things. So if you want to create a new Python tree, then you need to select the Python tree. And you can rename. Means when you create a new file, the file name is untitled. Untitled, no title. So you can right click on the file and then you can rename. You can rename according to your you can write anything. Let's say chapter 1. Okay. So the file name will be changed to chapter1.ipynb. So the ipynb is the extension for Jupyter file. I have another file untitled 1. So if you want to change this one, you can just rename it. Maybe chapter 01A. Okay, so you can have many files of Jupyter Notebook in one Jupyter Lab. So in the Jupyter Lab, there are three basic things. Okay, code, markdown, and raw. Code is the option to write code in Python. Markdown is the option to write description or comments on your code. And raw is the option to write using some other tools, for example, LaTeX. So let's see. Here you can see code, markdown, and raw. I think I will just focus on the code and the markdown. If it is code, let's say, I will make a very simple Python code. Print, and then I want to print hello Python. So after you do this one, you can run this button. Then it will show hello Python. It means this is the result from this Python code. If you use Markdown, then it is a kind of text to describe. This is the first Python lesson for me. Okay. So if you run this one, then this is only text you can use to describe about the code. For the raw, I will not explain because it is related with the other files. If you want to use LaTeX, yeah, it is also good if you want to try, but I will not explain. Okay, let's go to some basic one. So when you use the notes, or you can, if you use the Jupyter Lab, you can use the found or sharp, okay, to write comments in the code section. So if you already know, we have hello Python. I can use sharp. Sharp means everything in the Python code, this one is code, it will be only text. This is the first Python lesson for me. Okay. So you can see that the color is now in green because it is only just description, or we call it comments. They will not print it. But let's say if I want to print hello Huff, for example, okay, then if I click run, then it will just show hello Huff. This one is just a description. You will not print it. Okay. So for the execution, there are some options to execute a cell. Okay. Execute means you want to run your cell, because this is one cell. So you can use the run button here to execute the cell, or you can use Shift plus Enter, or you can use Alt plus enter. So now let's see. I want to print my name. So print Bernardo, and then it is in between double quotes. Now I will press Shift Enter. Shift and Enter. Okay. Then you can execute the code. Let's say now I want to print in algorithm, for example. And now I will use Alt and Enter. Alt and Enter. It's also the same. Okay. So what is the difference between the Shift Enter and the Alt Enter? If you are working on the code at the end of the line, there will be no difference. So in the Jupyter notebook, you can put lines in between. Let's say I want to have more code after the cell number 3. So you can click plus, then you can have a new line. And then let's say I want to print data. Now I will do the Shift Enter. Shift Enter. Then it works like this one. Now I will make a new line, and then I can do again print structure, for example. And now I'm using Alt Enter. Alt Enter. What is the difference? No difference?
No.
Yes, okay, correct. Thank you. So if you just use the Shift Enter, it will execute only that cell. But if you use the Alt Enter, you will execute the cell and make a new cell or make a new line. That's the difference. So you can add, modify, and delete the cells. For example, okay, I want to delete my name. Then you can just cut, then it will be deleted. Or if you want to modify, oh, I want to print the all things, data, structure, and algorithm. So I want to do like Alt Enter. Then I can run again. I can modify easily. Okay, so the extension file is the IPYNB, and you can move the cells to other notebook files. For example, now I have the chapter 1A. Okay, I want to move this one. So you can do right click. When you do right click, there are many options. Whether you want to cut the cells, you want to copy the cells, yeah, and etc. So let me just copy the cells. If you copy the cells, it means you can click C. Okay. So I want to copy the cell, and then I move to another notebook. So I move to chapter 1. And then I want to paste cell below. Then it will move to another notebook. So this kind of notebook is like the Microsoft Word or Hangul. Okay? So you can copy and paste, you can write just like the editor. Okay. Oh, this one is the same. Okay, so the code is all the Python code. The markdown is to write description, equation, tables, figures, and etc. And then row is to convert the notebook to another format, for example, HTML or LaTeX. So for today, I will explain more about Markdown. What is Markdown? Maybe in the final project, you can just submit the Jupyter file and you can write anything in your Markdown. Markdown is a lightweight and popular markup language. And markup language is similar to the hypertext markup language, HTML. It is made of markup text. I will not explain the hypertext markup language here. Okay. So it is about the web programming. Okay, let's go to the Jupyter lab. I assume you already have the Jupyter lab now. If you don't have the Jupyter lab, you can go to the Google Colab. When you type in the Google about Google Colab, then there will be a link, colab.research.google.com. So you can click this one. The environment is very similar to the Jupyter, but you can use anywhere. You can have code, you can have text. So if it is code, then it is Python code. If it is text, so it's similar to Markdown. Let's say I want to write something. Print hello world. Then I can run by pressing this. Okay, so you need to connect to Google to run this command. So if you have your Google account, you can just run this one. Okay. I will not use this Google Colab, but if you still cannot run the Jupyter in your laptop, then you can access to the Google Colab. And okay, let's go to the Jupyter. So please allow me to use two environments. So instead of PowerPoint, I will use these Jupyter slides. Hopefully it will not be confusing for you. So I will just give the Jupyter notebook introduction and the Python introduction. How to launch the Jupyter notebook? I guess, yeah, you already know how to launch the Jupyter notebook from the PowerPoint that I shared. The Jupyter notebook is the browser web graphical interface. Okay, so you can see it is the formatted text, and yeah, it can have the dynamic and static visualization, and you can type mathematical equations, and it contains some JavaScript widgets. So in those documents can be saved in a way that other people can open them and execute their code in their own system. When you have the IPYNB, you can put in the Google Colab directly. So when you open in the Google Colab, it will the same as the Jupyter. So that's why the Jupyter notebook is now a very good tool for doing the code. So Jupyter Notebook is viewed and edited through the web browser window. In my case, I use Google Chrome. So if you use another web browser, you can set that web browser to open the Jupyter Notebook. You can use the Microsoft Edge. You can use Opera. You can use any web browser to do the Jupyter Notebook. So I already explained to use the Anaconda Navigator to open the Jupyter Notebook. So once you install the Anaconda navigation is available in the start menu. So it has many tools for the data science. You can use R, you can use Spider, you can use IPython, you can use Orange, and etc. Okay. So this is my explanation. The running the Anaconda Navigator consumes computer memory, or it runs the user interface for all the programs. So that's why I usually try to use another way instead of the use Anaconda Navigator, because it will consume more memory if you use this navigator. The second one is using the command prompt or the Anaconda prompt. Once you install the Anaconda, the installation process will include the path setting to the Python environment. So opening the Anaconda prompt allows users to automatically run the Jupyter Notebook. So I already explained, you can write Jupyter Notebook or you can write Jupyter Lab. And if you look at this one, localhost. Okay, so if you look at this one, it is similar to website. When you want to launch a website, you can launch in your localhost. So that's why the Google Colab also use this kind of mechanism. So you can access it through the web. This command will launch the local web server that will be visible to your web browser. Okay, I will not explain this one because this is too technical. Okay. So usually the local host, it will determine about in the web browser, and then this is the port number that we use for opening the Jupyter Notebook. You can use the Jupyter Lab. Okay, this is the next generation of the Jupyter. Okay, you already see this one. Yeah, it's up to you what you want to use to open the Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook. So for today, I will just explain about the Markdown. What is the Markdown? For the next meeting, I will discuss other things, the basic programming, but I cannot explain all the things because the focus of this course is about data structure and algorithm. So I will try to finish all the things about basic Python in 2 weeks, okay? Next week and next week. Only 2 weeks we will learn all the things in Python, and then after that I will continue with the data structure and the algorithms. So Markdown. What is Markdown? It is to write some text. And the other text formatting issue will be explained in other section. So the basic computer programming that you will learn is about the statement, variable, and sequential. This is just for this slide. Okay. Text. What is text? When you use Microsoft Word or when you use Hangul, you can type. And then you can emphasize. What does it mean by emphasize? It means you can see the text in bold. So the black color shows something that it is more important. You want to make it bold. Or you can make it italic. Or you can make it underline. So for example, I will go to the file. I already set up the explanation here in the week 01 Python introduction. So everything that I show you in the slides, they are from this one. So about the text description, we can make the emphasis. How to make the emphasis? You can double click this one. So by using the markdown, you can type by some code. For example, you want to emphasis. So let me just make a new one. I will change to markdown, and then I want to bold my name. So I can make 2 stars, Bernardo, and finish with 2 stars. And when I execute this one, then it will be in bold. Let's see, I will just go to the next line. I will type my name, Bernardo, and I run this one. Then it is just text. If I want to make string, the italic, then I can put underbar, Bernardo, underbar. Then yeah, it has different text. If you want to write the mathematical symbols, you need to start with the $sign. So the $sign, x equal to a divided by b, for example. Then it will be written in the mathematical format. So you need to know some basic text formatting for this mathematical. For example, I want to make fraction of a and b. I run this. Oh, okay. Sorry. I need to put this one. So it will be like in the mathematical form, x equals to a divided by b, like this one. I cannot teach you all about this one. Yeah, this is one example. So if you run this, then you can see the mathematical symbol like this. We have monospace font. What is monospace font? It's round text with a back single quotation mark. Do you know this one? I use this monospace font. That's it. Do you know where is the monospace font for the code? I think if you have the same keyboard with me, you will see the monospace font is in the left part of number 1. Okay? It is different with the single quote. The single quote is the button in the left part of the enter. Okay? So it's different. And if I want to put the single like this one, so I want to explain about the code. As you know, underbar will give you italic. Okay. But in this case, it will not give you italic. It just explains what is your code in the markdown. Because this is the monospace form. Okay, one more time. We know that the underbar here is to make the text into italic. But when you put the three of this monospace font code, then it will not be in the italic, but it will show you how to make it italic. Okay, so something like this. So we call this is the monospace font. Line breaks. Sometimes Markdown does not make line breaks when you want them. So you need to use two space for this code to do the manual break. Okay, so like this one, I make one space, so there will be line break. Colors. It's difficult to make colors. So if you want to make colors, then you need to understand how to make it in the HTML. So in this case, yeah, you need to make the tag like this. What is the color that you want to use? Blue, red, green, pink, yellow. Indented quoting. Indented quoting means you want to use the sign greater than and then space, then type the text. So the text is indented and has a gray horizontal line to the left of it until the next caret is written. So maybe I can show you something like when you have this one and space. Okay, when you have this sign, then you will see nothing, okay? Because it is just to show the indented quoting. So it will go to the like tab. Palette. Palette means you can just put the sign dash to make the palette. Then you will make one palette. Or if you want to make a number list, you can have the 1 Venado, 2 data. Then yeah, it will follow the numbers later. If you want to make horizontal lines, you can make with 3 stars. Then it will make one line. So that's the basic for the texting. Okay. For this one, the internal links, it is just to show the hyperlink. Maybe I will just show you later with many examples. Okay, I will skip this one. Heading. When you write the text, you may need to give some outline. For example, okay, I want to make this as the first part. And then I want to make this is the second part. And this is the third part. So it is different. The first part will be the biggest one with one sharp. The second part will be the second largest with 2 sharp. And the third one will be the smaller one with the third with 3 sharp. So if you put more sharp, then it will be again smaller. So we call this is heading. Maximum will be until 6. Okay? So you cannot have more font until 6. So the 6 chap will be the normal size. Okay, I think this one is about the table. When you create table, you need to show with the vertical line. Okay, so you can format like this one. We will see more example how to create table. Okay. And figures or graphic. So we can put some graphical in the markdown. Okay. Okay, I will continue with the basic concept of programming in the next class. Okay.